most often, people who dream about nature the most are people who live in cities. So I'm thinking about the great sort of pastoral sort of thoughts and ideas and designs, the very wild nature. It really is from the urban imagination. And I think we should allow that kind of imagination to take place, because even though it's a bit of a dream, it actually creates fascinating things. So for example, some of these designs are definitely pastoral in feel. Not just a park, not only Foster's Park, which is more like a park, but I think something like Cool House's design is a kind of pastoral scene in a sort of Cantonese way, right? With sort of idealistic farms or idealistic sort of divisions of fields and so on. But I think we should be able to dream that way. It's artificial, but it's a great piece of artificiality to have that. And people like it. And it gives people a different perspective on the relationship with nature. Well, I think something about West Kowloon that's very interesting is that it's really a kind of anti-space within the Hong Kong sort of urban scene, because it's trying to create something that is both cultural and, if you like, something which is completely the opposite of Hong Kong's frenetic, crazy pace. So that's why I think that kind of park idea always creates this sense of relaxation. And this is again going back to that question about the pastoral that I was thinking about. Urban imagination always wants to think about the pastoral because they want a place to relax. In other words, they have to get away from business, get away from the marketplace, and then find this idyllic spot where nothing happens. So the idea that nature itself is passive, and that culture, cultivation, gardening is always the active thing, right? So we move away from cultivation. We go and do nature, and we pretend that we are passive. And so we do all those pretend things that make us relax. So we have, I think, one of the conceptual plans has a fish pond, right? That's great. Just sit all day in front of your pond, throw your line in, catch a fish. You don't even have to eat it. You can just throw it back in. But already it's kind of meaningful because it's nothing. It's just, your dream of pastoral nature. It's the same when you go for a walk. Again, it's a kind of meaningless activity. But it's the idea that nature itself is passive and you can be part of nature. So you want to create that sense in which you can simply relax and be, as it were, an anti-Hong Konger for a moment and do something completely crazy by doing nothing. Because that's really what Hong Kong likes us to think about when we are in Hong Kong. We should be sort of just running around, getting this done, being effective, that sort of can-do spirit, right? We're all human doings in Hong Kong, but actually what we need to be in the West Kowloon Cultural District is a human being. So we need to create a place for being. That's why, in one sense, I think if we get it right, West Kowloon can be a place where we can just be, the well-being.